Welcome to the Grizzled Geek. I'm Mike,
I'm Doug.
and we're back with another Mandalorian review for episodes 2 and 3.
Oh, we're gonna do them together. All right, cool.
Yeah, let's do them together. Let's throw them all into one. Since how 2 was more of a,
Hit
uh,
total filler.
it was a filler. Well, yeah, it was a filler episode, right? But wasn't 2 a filler episode in the last season too?
It was.
Uh, but I mean, we say filler, it sounds bad, but it's actually. I mean, it was a good episode. I just, you know, wasn't didn't progress the story, right? It was like a little side adventure kind of thing. Uh,
Yeah,
but
and it's I it. This often comes up. Show is two. We've had what now, 11
yeah,
episodes. So it's kind of hard to rank them. Like, what's your favorite episode? What's your least favorite? And
yeah,
put them in kind of rank order because you just get general feelings about it.
yeah.
But number 2 of this season is probably my least favorite episode.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Not that it's bad.
Yeah.
It's still a solid B or better episode. I don't think there have been any episodes of The Mandalorian where I would have said it was just an average show.
Right.
There's always something cool in there, something to discover. But there were a few things in this episode, which I think was called The Passenger,
The passenger. Yep.
which I just either didn't like or just thought, well, that was kind of a waste.
Right. And we're gonna talk spoilers. We're not gonna do a review.
Yeah.
Seems how we're not reacting to it.
We're doing 2 different episodes. It's kind of hard to
If you're
jump
watching this
back and forth.
video, you've seen the episodes. So yeah, but let's talk about 2. Let's first off, right off the bat, were those spiders, those giant spiders, were they the ones from like the video game, the
No, I think they're the ones that are
KOTOR?
supposed to be. They're supposed to be the one. Oh, I don't know. I'd never played KOTOR, so I don't know.
Oh, okay.
They are supposed to be the same as the ones in Rebels
Rebels. Okay.
when they're on the planet. That's the big. I forgot what his name is. The force, the
Yeah.
kind of neutral force being.
Yep.
They're the spiders on that planet. I think I've heard people make the reference to them. Now the mouth kind of extends
Yeah.
down weird differently, and there were never little ones in that episode. They were all just the giant ones. So it's kind of hard to say, but
What
they
about
look the same.
what about in SWOTOR? Isn't there like some like spiders that look like that on? You see them throughout there in various times. Like the one where like HK like was killing them. They had a little cutscene where he's like killing all the spiders that are coming at him.
Oh yeah,
I mean, and their mouths.
maybe. Yeah, maybe.
They got the same mouth, but their mouth and those in the video game, the mouth comes out front more instead of down below it.
Yeah, interesting. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that could be the same ones.
Yeah, because that's what
But
it
yeah,
reminded me of when he was like running and blasting them all. It reminded me of that
yeah,
cutscene with HK killing all the spiders. uh,
that's hilarious.
yeah, yeah, we got introduced to that little frog salamander character, which I actually like. I like that they have like practical effects like creatures, right?
Oh, right. Yeah,
I like the fact they have the big ant guy in the bar. Uh,
yeah.
I liked. I don't know. I like the intro where he got jumped in the whole bit. And I didn't mind the the mechanic character
Oh,
as much in this one. I mean, she was fine.
yeah.
Uh,
That's kind of, I think, how I've always felt about her characters. She's all right.
she's all right.
I,
There's like
she's got some weird lines every once in a while, or maybe it's just the way she delivers them. I don't know, but because even here when she gives she said, "Oh yeah, I trust him with my life." She's like, "Well, I only met her like 48 hours ago, or something like that." You're
I'm a
like,
good judge of
"What?"
character.
Yeah, she's just like, good judge of character," and you're like, oh, "Okay, that's weird."
Yeah. What about the controversy from this episode?
I didn't like it. It was. I agree with a lot of the people that was a kind of, it took you out of the moment where you're like, okay, he's eating her babies, essentially. What is going on here?
Well, they weren't fertilized eggs.
Well, that's true.
Still.
Yeah, still. They were.
I mean...
Especially, well, he doesn't understand, but we as the audience know this is apparently the last chance they have for their brood to continue.
Right.
So we know their stakes are high with them.
Right. Here's the thing that people aren't considering with this, right? And I agree, he shouldn't be eating those eggs, right? And they probably shouldn't... I just
think it didn't need to be there. It painted the child in a bad light that didn't need to do anything, because I think it was supposed to be there for comedic effect, that he's always eating something, and it's often frogs.
Yeah, he eats frogs. Here's the thing: in this universe, you got to understand it. And we're judging it from the lens of our world, right? Where it's like, oh, that's some woman's unfertilized eggs he's eating. That is awful. But in this world, where is the line here, right? Because there are Mon Calamari, and then they're eating squid. There's like, they have, whatever the Quarians, squid faces, and yet and they eat squid, right? And the baby eats frogs, right? And she's a frog lady. So I mean, in our world, we don't have there's sentient crabs walking around, but we eat these other crabs, right?
Right.
So I mean, we don't have that, that dynamic. It's a baby, one, so he doesn't know. He knows he likes frogs. And those are frogs, and he doesn't know that they're eggs. And I think he has a learning growth moment in the next episode with it, right? Which is
where he realizes, these are there's life there.
There's life, yeah. He doesn't know. I mean, he needs to be taught those kind of things, right? And you wouldn't know in a world like that where there are, this thing that looks like this other thing is an animal and okay to eat, and this one is sentient, right? I mean. It's how would you know, right? If you weren't, I look at it through our lens, like what's okay to eat here, right? Is this am I eating something sentient? Am I, I don't. That looks like something I would eat, but
yeah, I mean, and that's all fine, but I think it fell flat in that as a storyteller, what was your point here? Did you really need to do this and make part of the audience go, why would you do that with the, for some people, ruining the innocence of the child, even if it's by extension of something. Obviously he couldn't understand what was at stake, but did you really need to do that? Because I'll tell you, I can understand all of those things intellectually, but watching it, I was uncomfortable. I was like, why is this happening? Why are they doing this? It didn't make any sense to the story.
I mean, I can get it. I wasn't uncomfortable with it because I was like, I just watched it. I'm like, okay. I agree it didn't need to be in there, right? And I agree that they probably played it too far, for the comedic effect, right?
Because to be honest, we only got in season 1, one or two examples of him doing that, like putting stuff in his mouth. I'm hungry, Mom.
Yeah. Here's the thing.
It's not like it was every episode gag.
If they would have done it, it should have been done. Here's the thing. The last one is the one I kind of giggled at. When he kind of looked over at her, he looks back and pops one in his mouth, right? That would have been, I think it would have been much better if that was the only instance, right? And the entire episode he was trying to get his hands on him, and he got stopped every time, right? And we're like, okay. And at the end of the episode, it's like, okay, he stopped him from eating the eggs, great. And then you get that one last shot where he snuck one, right? And popped in his mouth. It still would have been like, you shouldn't do that. But it would have been, that would have been the one-time joke in it, right? Whether it worked or whether it didn't with you, that's fine. But it wouldn't have been like the horrifying, he's eating eggs all episode.
Yeah, he had like 3 of them.
Yeah, I'm like,
You're like, don't stop doing that.
Yeah.
Although they seem to magically never run out of them. It's like there was always more of them than originally seemed to be, but whatever. Yeah.
They got like hate mail over that, right? Oh, they want to cancel Baby Yoda, and I'm like, come on now. It wasn't. I mean, I'm just saying.
Those are probably the same people who put up the billboards that have stuff from like
All the animals.
crabs and chickens.
Yeah.
It goes all the way to horses and stuff. And like, where's the line between
Pet and food.
pet and food? And you're like, right here.
Right here. Yeah.
It's really easy.
I can tell you right here. During hard economic times, it's over here, and during apocalypse, it's all the way down over here.
But anyway, so let's go ahead and get into the rest of the episode.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I mean, what do we feel about is it me? I like the fact they had the X-Wing pilots in it, right? I like the fact they mentioned the New Republic, right? And you get a kind of a sense of what life in the galaxy's like post-Empire.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I thought it was cool that they let him go at the end, but also dickish that they just basically left him to die. How was he going to get that ship out of there? They had no idea he had the stuff to repair that enough to get out of there.
How about we just let you go? And,
like, good luck. If you make it out of here, I guess you deserve to live. I don't know. But I was like,
why even bother saving me from the spiders so I could freeze to death?
Yeah, I'm like,
that was a bit weird.
There was no integrity in any part of that ship. Right, the cockpit was breached, and he's stuck on a frozen planet, and you had to come save him from spiders. He's not doing that well, and you're not even gonna I'll signal for help, or I mean, it's one thing, we'll send help when we leave or whatever, we'll signal for help.
That wasn't even that.
There wasn't even that. They're like, we'll see, get that transponder fixed. And I'm like, which would have been fine in different circumstances, but the circumstances of them leaving him there to die in a cave on this frozen planet, I'm like, But, and then he gets messed up in the next episode. So, I mean, that's pretty much that episode. Episode 2, that's pretty much all that happened in it, right?
Some spiders, some...
Yeah.
Keeping Baby Yoda from...
He's got a lead on other Mandalorians.
Unsuccessfully,
He's got a lead on other Mandalorians. He's got a passenger he's got to take there.
Yeah, it was it was... Yeah, anyways, it was filler, and I guess it was just made to have him barely make it there. And need help, I guess. I don't know.
Otherwise, why is he taking a boat somewhere? His ship's got to be messed up. But it got messed up on re-entry. And then dunked in the water. He's pretty much lost all his stuff that was in there. Right?
Yeah.
What does he have left? He doesn't have anything left in that ship. Because there was like, you could see through the ship when he walked away from it, and it got picked up there. And that Mon Calamari, that, mechanic to fix it.
Yeah, I did like that walker crane thing. That was cool.
Yeah,
walking around the bay and.
Oh yeah, that was pretty cool.
Okay, so now we're on to episode 3.
Episode 3, yeah.
And this is my hands down favorite planet that he's gone to.
So
this is the coolest. I'm glad we've gotten away from the barren
desert,
backwater rock kind of thing. I like his home planet, whatever. Where the Bounty Hunters Guild operates from, where his first covert was.
It was Navarro?
Whatever. It's
Navarro.
Okay. I like that planet, but this was just way cooler, way visually stunning.
Yeah.
I like that it's an ocean planet that's populated by Mon Calamaris and Quarrens, which is cool.
Yeah.
So like, oh yeah, these ocean races went to this ocean planet and colonized it. That's awesome.
Yep. And they're not at war.
What's that?
The Mon Calamari and the Quarrens are not at war.
Yeah.
So, because didn't they fight in the Clone Wars? Wasn't it like a big?
They did. Yeah. There's always this undertone of Quarrens are like second-class citizens or something like that.
Which they are.
But
we've not met a good Quarren yet.
Including in this episode.
Yeah. So, so he gets there. He goes to the bar. I like a little bit of humor with the squid and the chowder.
Oh yeah, the live squid in the food.
Yeah, I like when he's pouring that chowder. I'm like, that's not sanitary. And then a big plop, something came out of it. I'm like, the hose. I'm like, well, I'm gonna eat it with a big lump that side. And then we saw it's alive, and it attached to the Baby Yoda's face. He's like, stop playing with your food, and just kind of stabs it. That was good. And then obviously, these Quarrens double cross him. Obviously, everyone's after the Beskar. When I first saw the baby get eaten by that thing, I was like, "What the? How? Wow! How are they going to save this?" Now I saw him like close his hatch right at the last minute, right? Reached over, closed his hatch, the very last minute. So I'm like, okay, how much air does that hold? And you know how strong is that structural integrity inside the belly of something like that? You see the teeth of the thing. And then instinctively he jumps in after the child instead of killing these guys first.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know. I mean, me watching it, I'm going, you just saw them open up the gate. They had a gate over that thing. Why are you going to jump in there and just close the gate, which they did.
Right. Yeah.
But you wouldn't be thinking that way if your kid got dumped in the water. First instinct is to go after the kid. Yeah. And then one of the coolest moments, the Mandalorians he's looking for show up.
Yeah.
And it's not just any Mandalorians. It's Bo-Katan. And not just Bo-Katan, but it's the Bo-Katan. It's Katie Sackhoff.
Yeah, that was so good. When she took her helmet off, and you see it's Katie Sackhoff, and you're like, yes! She looks exactly like Bo-Katan.
Yeah, I mean, they designed Bo-Katan. They got a character. They designed a character to look just like the actor whose voice playing that character. And then later on, that same actor gets to play that character. Like we're talking about before. Bo-Katan is Bo-Katan, right?
Yeah.
There's no. This is who she is from the very beginning, and she moves. She moves like she does in. I mean, obviously that was intentional, right? Those scenes. She fights like she did in the Clone Wars. Like that scene where she kills stormtroopers, and then she does that turn with her head, right? The body's turned this way, and then she turns with the head, and a slow turn this way. That scene's like straight out of Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Right? And then the other scene where she's walking down the hallway with the two pistols up, you're like, wow, this is straight out of the animation. Right?
Yeah.
And it's great that they designed not only they designed, obviously it's the voice and the face of the person, but Katie Sackhoff also has the physicality to pull it off, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Yeah, this was just it was a super cool introduction. It was a cool fight, and what's funny is why would these Korrans ever assume that attacking a Mandalorian was a good idea?
Yeah.
But yeah, so they pay for it.
Yeah.
They all
die.
The best part of the scene is, well, I don't know if it's the best part of the scene. One of the great parts of the scene is you get kind of backstory about, something we've been wondering the whole time since the show started is why, when we've seen Mandalorians all throughout history taking their helmets off, why does this Mandalorian and his group not? So what's going on here? And we get an explanation of it, which is cool.
Yeah. So, yeah, he's a son of the Watch or whatever, a child of the Watch.
Child of the Watch, yeah.
Which I'm assuming like Death Watch because they're the ones who saved him, right?
Well, yeah, it's a splinter. It appears to be a splinter of Death Watch, which is like ultra conservative, wants to go back to the old ways, and in some point, I guess they've identified the mask as being Mandalorian, so they don't take them off, which has never, to our knowledge, through extended universe material and through what we've seen in Star Wars, was never a thing for Mandalorians.
No, it's something they've come up with.
The idea.
It makes sense, especially if you are rebuilding your people not as a people, right? But as an idea.
Well, yeah, the Mandalorians have never been a race.
Yeah. They've had a planet.
They've got a planet, but it's whoever. In fact, they were originally not even human.
Right.
But whatever. That's extended universe
stuff. Yeah, that's whole stuff. But yeah, it's... So, I mean, to be one, and also, to hide your face, to be all, I can understand
You are this, unified whole.
Yeah, exactly. So. And I get it, and I like the fact that, but I love the fact that we know, right? With, like, Bo-Katan, right? And then her relationship with Death Watch, which she doesn't, go into detail on here.
Right. Yeah.
I was like... but she doesn't judge him, right? Like her your sidekick does, right? So I
Yeah.
was one of them. It's like, yeah, I know. She's just like, hey, and she doesn't judge him for that because she was a Death Watch, but
Right.
back in the day before they went,
Mm-hmm.
split off. But yeah, I mean, it was just a great scene. It was a great scene.
Yeah.
And right after that, I will say, had one of the coolest shots in the episode, the sunset shot where he's on the beach or on the docks, right? And
Yeah, because we should say he rejects them.
He rejects him. He flies away.
You're not real Mandalorian. Time out.
Yep. Well, how'd you feel?
He says there's only one way, and then leaves.
Yeah, the way of the Mandalore, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what is in his head, right? If you were part of
he's been taught.
If you were part of a cult, right? If you grew up in a cult, and someone tells you that that's not the the real Christianity or whatever it is, and then you're like, nope, that you're gonna reject it at first. So he flies off. It's a great shot on the sunset because one, it's sunset over the water, right? Mm-hmm. He's got the chrome armor reflecting the sunset. You see the three of them fly up in the distance off the boat, right? And then the boat explodes because they blew it up. And there's that scene of all that. Right? It's all orange. The whole scene is orange, and it's amazing shot. It's just like that is awesome. So, but yeah, and then they come back, and of course, get him into another side quest, right?
Yeah.
So
which kind of was. This is what elevates this to, in my opinion, the best episode of the series so far.
Yeah.
Is how one, it gives us some more information on his background.
Yeah.
It introduces a super cool character, and we get more of a connection to the Empire.
Yes.
And what's going on with our main bad guy. So
they attack an Imperial freighter.
The Gazanti, which is
Gazanti, yeah,
appearing more and more frequently in Star Wars material all over the place.
Yeah, and it has weapons. It's a weapon cache, so they're going to try and get it because she wants to retake Mandalore, so she's stealing weapons from the Empire. But she kind of tricks him, right? And decides we're not just raiding weapons, we're going to take in the whole ship because she's after what we knew she was after the minute she showed up on screen. We're like, oh, actually,
we should say we, as people who've watched the Clone Wars
yes.
and Rebels, we know what she's after. The average viewer may not know the connection.
She mentions it, so even if you're not a big know all the lore and like that, she's after the Dark Saber, right? So, and that Moff Gideon has this Dark Saber. For those of you who don't know, you guys listen to this, you probably know, but it's the Dark Saber was forged by the first Mandalorian Jedi, right? Yeah. And it can't be duplicated. They don't know how it was made, and it's become a symbol of the leadership of Mandalore. So whoever holds the Dark Saber rules Mandalore, right? And Bo-Katan had it at one point and ended up losing it, and now she's trying to get it back from Moff Gideon to rule Mandalore again. But yeah, just watching those four Mandalorians because we saw the big, episode 3 of last season, we saw the big Mandalorian fight, right? But it was just kind of like background stuff. It was a cool scenes, right? But it was mostly background stuff. But to see these 4 Mandalorians come through, and what caught my eye was that, and how much, I don't want to say much better because the Mandalorian is a badass, but these 3 are soldiers, right? Mm-hmm. He's a bounty hunter. He's well trained, but he's a bounty hunter, right? As where Bo-Katan, we know, is a badass, right? And she's got who the Mandalorians with her are, Mandalorian lifers, soldiers, right? They fought in wars, so watching them walk through that freighter and kill people, you're like, okay, he's trying to keep up with them. Right?
Yeah, they move as a cohesive unit.
Yeah,
he's just kind of like,
yep.
It's kind of the reverse of the Prison Break episode last season.
That's
where
exactly what I was thinking. Yep.
Where he's the badass that they're like, oh, well, why don't you show us how good you are? And he's so like, okay.
But he wins them over. Even after they screwed him over, he wins them over by his act of bravery. So it did. It's what I love about it is that they showed that they're probably better warriors than he is, but yet they showed why he's a badass as well, right?
Yeah.
He didn't. It wasn't just a, him, playing catch up the entire one to these badasses. It was, oh, thank you very much. Yeah, it was him being a badass too, like showing, he charged in, took that blaster fire when none of them were going to, and took out the bad guys. It was great. I liked it because there was like some comedic elements in the whole raid, like the guys trapping them in the cargo control area, and then getting jettisoned out the back. Where? And then there was like a few glances and the few like the feeble like the two young guys on the ensigns on the deck, right? Yeah. Where they know they're dead and they're like, do you copy? They got to do the call in. There's a few moments that were kind of funny, but it didn't take away from the overall like drama of it. What was going on?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
like the guy's like standing defiantly, and then as soon as blasters start going, he's hiding.
Yeah, he's all.
Close the door. Close the door.
We're gonna hold them until they get to hyperspace, and then as soon as they open up, they're like, shut the door. Shut the door. And they're like, what? Shut them all. Yeah, it was great. I like the actor that played the main officer on that ship. I forget his name, but he's been in quite a few things.
I just looked him up and I can't remember. He was on Lost, and
he's on Lost. Is what are the big one?
He was in Westworld, I think, too.
Yeah.
But anyways, yes.
Yeah. And that's part of the that adds to it. Like when you get actors like that to play these roles in the Empire, right? It gives them the seriousness. But it also showed us in this. Obviously, he's a follower of Moff Gideon. How.
And they're apparently way more gung ho is not the right word.
Yeah, it's more I want to say like zealots. They're more.
Yeah, they are more zealous.
They're more zealot. Yeah. There is before the Empire was like a government and they had their troops, right, and they did it because they're the ones in power. This new Empire, or at least this faction of the Empire, are filled with believers, or at least the command is, right. Yeah. They're not just officers, right? They're believers, and
he's like, well, we can't get reinforcements to you on time, so you know what to do. And he's like, yes, sir. Long live the Empire. He shoots pilots and tries to crash the ship.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa.
Whoa. And then when he gets cornered, and they mention that he confirms to Bo-Katan he's got the Dark Saber, and she's like, I'm going to let you live, but you're going to take me to him. And he's like, you'll let me live, but he won't. And then he commits suicide, and you're like, oh my goodness. That is...
I like the change on, the cyanide pill thing. He's got some sort of like...
electrical
thing that fries him.
Yeah.
I'm like, I think the cyanide would be better.
I was going to say, I'm like, I'd rather have the cyanide, I think.
Did it electrify my brain?
It's like, yeah. But yeah, he's devoted.
That was interesting.
But it was great. And then we get the reveal. You want to mention
the name we've all been waiting for. Now that we know he's finding a Jedi for the child, she says, hey, go here and you'll find Ahsoka Tano.
Yeah. Tell them Bo-Katan sent you.
Yeah, tell her Bo-Katan sent you. And if you watched the last season of Clone Wars that was released on Disney Plus, you know that that Ahsoka and Bo-Katan have a relationship, like a mutual respect kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that was cool.
Yeah.
So I tend to agree with some of the people I've seen online talking about this. He knows where to go, but I don't think he's going to get right to Ahsoka. It's going to take a little while.
I'm going to make a prediction. I bet he gets there at episode 5.
Think so?
I think so. You know why? Because episode 5 is the episode that Dave Filoni is directing.
Oh, okay.
So he knows where to go. He's on his way there now. So we'll have a filler episode next time on the way there, right? And then I bet episode 5 is where we get to see her. Because
Yeah, I think at this point he needs to go someplace to get his ship fixed before he
yeah,
tries going someplace he's never been or never heard of
I love
before.
how patched together it is by the end of that.
Yeah,
Montgomery, like literally patched together. You're in his cockpit. He's got like a wire holding everything together. I was just
yeah.
like, yes,
Fishnet all over the place. You're like,
fishnet.
what is going on?
Turned into like a pirate-looking ship. But yeah, it's great. I love the fact that the end shot where he hits hyperspace and he's dropping parts during takeoff, and then the final shot is him going to hyperspace and the part flying off. I was like, yeah, he's got to get his ship fixed. So
Yeah.
that may be another adventure there. And then if she doesn't show up at the end, it'll be a I'm betting a Dave Filoni directed episode, because that's his.
Probably a good call, yeah.
I mean, that's his. That's his girl, right?
He's had just as much, I guess, input into her development as anybody else.
I mean, George Lucas created her, but he made her who she is, right?
right.
So, yeah, I mean, it's yeah. If I had to bet, I would bet it's a Dave Filoni episode 5, which means we have one more before that.
I think it's too bad they didn't get the voice actress to play her.
Yeah,
Because she looks like she could be
but she's too
the
young.
part.
She's too young. I mean, to be honest, Katie Sackhoff's too young to play Bo-Katan at this point, right? Because this is 30 years after, Clone Wars.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, no. It's only.
yeah, 'cause
Yeah, I mean,
it's 5 years after Return of the Jedi, right?
right.
And Return of the Jedi is 5 years after New Hope.
No, it's not. It's 3.
It's 3, you sure? Because I thought there was a
Yeah,
big
they
jump
all
between.
take place. No, they. I always thought that too, but it's come out more and more that it was just 3 years for the 3 movies.
Holy crap! Luke learned fast to be a Jedi.
Yeah.
That's another marker how badass Luke is. That he went from not knowing anything about the Force to Jedi Master in 3 years.
Yeah, and the last time we see Ahsoka and Bo-Katan is a couple of years, a year or two before A New Hope. So
I don't know. You figure, okay? So let's take a look at the Star Wars timeline here. All right, so
it's your son singing in the background.
he's singing in the background, yeah. He does live stream shows where people listen. Actually, he's got fans listening to him sing for some reason. I'm like, I mean, all right. So, Clone Wars was 22 BBY, and that's before the Battle of Yavin, right?
Right.
So
this is taking place like 8 BY. So yeah,
that's
you're right,
30 years. 30 years. So
since the Clone Wars started.
But because she. All right. Let's take an example. Let's look at what Boba Fett looks like versus what Katie Sackhoff or what Bo-Katan looks like, and she's older than him. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, he's hard living. Of course, surviving a Sarlacc pit is.
Although Bo-Katan is only 10. Well, let's assuming she was young when in Clone Wars, like 20-ish. Katie Sackhoff's only 10 years younger than Bo-Katan should be. So it's not that.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Rebels ends 1 year before Battle of Yavin.
Okay.
So that ends that. So we have. Let's see here, and let's go. What is Return of the Jedi? Return of the Jedi is 4 years after the Battle of Yavin, so it's 4 years, and then the Mandalorian is 10 years after the Battle of Yavin.
Okay.
So 32 years since the start of the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Okay. So still,
puts her early 50s, and that puts mid 40s for Ahsoka. Yeah. And I think the girl who voiced her is mid 30s now.
Mid 30s.
So yeah, she would be 10 years younger ish than she should be.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Well, as where Rosario Dawson is the right age to play her. But I don't know.
And I like Rosario Dawson. I don't have a problem with that. I just think it's kind of a bummer that the girl who,
Ashley
you
Eckhart.
know,
Is that her name?
Ashley Eckhart,
Yeah.
yeah, I think so, made her what she is.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I agree. It would be
it's
nice to have
X-Teen, not
X Teen.
Eckhart.
X Teen.
X-Teen.
Actually, X Teen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd
She's
be nice.
39, so she's actually only a year younger than Katie Sackhoff.
Oh wow. Okay.
But anyways, so. But yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what happens on that front. I have a feeling, and I've heard a couple of people. I've heard two different things here, and we'll kind of end on this. Is the direction the show could go from this? Like, there's one camp I've heard from that's they like the Western man with no name. You know, you just get involved in a story and you move on. You don't tie down or anything like that. The other is, and I'm on this path, is everything about him is, yes, it's, you know, he's got this Western vibe. You could give him this kind of man with no name, but the logical conclusion is he's all about being a Mandalorian. He needs to learn more about being a Mandalorian, and that is his character. It's the name of the show.
Right.
So he should eventually go off with Bo-Katan in search of, you know, reestablishing the Mandalorians as a culture.
Learn more about what it means to be a Mandalorian.
Yeah. And, you know, reestablish your home world and all that kind of stuff. It makes sense for his character to do that. It doesn't make sense for him to just be this perpetual loner who's just, you know, because he is not the man with no name who doesn't want to be connected to things. You never really learn why he's where he is, where he's going. He doesn't want to get involved. He very actively does. He wants to find his people. He wants to help them.
Yeah.
He wants to give back to that society. So I think it is the right direction for him to go, to join Bo-Katan at some point.
So you think
this gives me kind of a...
Sabine's going to be with Ahsoka, or...
I don't know. One would assume that if there's going to be an Ahsoka spin-off show, that it should be about the two of them hunting down, unless they've already found him. But then where is he? Why isn't he involved?
Exactly.
Or
Rex is with her, maybe.
Oh, that would be good. Especially since they've got the actor already.
Yeah, exactly. And
if they could convince him to do two shows, you know, do a Boba Fett show and be on her show as two different characters,
that'd be awesome.
Although Rex would be so ancient by now.
Yeah, just give him a beard.
Because this is 10 years after. If we assume they age 3 years for every year of actual, you know, in order
unless taking that chip out of their head stop the advanced aging.
Maybe,
you know, they could then.
Because otherwise he'd be 90.
Right.
He is the essentially 90 years old.
Right.
So not sure that will happen, but we'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's why this episode was great. It just opens so much up, and
it was a great nod to the Clone Wars fans without taking away from the Mandalorian story itself. Mm-hmm. Right? It's still...
Yeah, it gives you all the information you need to understand what's going on.
Yeah. So, there you have it, folks. Tell us what you think. Which
thumbs up.
Yeah. Did you like these two episodes? Is this one of the best ones? According to Doug, it's the worst and the best, right, side by side.
They are, yeah, in my opinion.
So let us know what you think. Please like, subscribe, share with your friends. Be sure to check out our other shows. If you're into RWBY, we're reacting to that. We up on every Tuesday. If you want to check out our podcast, we have that live every Friday night, and then on wherever you get your podcasts after that. If you want to support the channel and the things that we do here, Doug, how can they do that?
Yeah, there'll be 3 links in the description down below. One to our Teespring store where you can get cool podcast and, you know, just Grizzled Geek merchandise. Yep. Including some masks now. Yep. 2, you can check us out on Patreon, where you can see RWBY reactions a couple days early. And then third, and probably the easiest way to support us, is click that Amazon affiliate link. Do your holiday shopping through that link. When you click that link, any shopping you do within 24 hours will get a kickback from it. Doesn't cost you anything extra. So it's a great way to support the show because you know you're going to shop through Amazon.
Exactly. You're doing it anyway, so might as well support us that way. So, all right, guys. Yeah. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time with another review of Mandalorian. Bye.
Bye.